In a footnote in my Intro to Poetry textbook, junior year of high school, it said that good poetry does not rely on the fine print. I started writing in the more serious sense of the word in 7th grade. I tell people I started because that's when we first studied poetry in school, but that's a lie. We studied poetry in the 6th grade, and the 4th, and the 2nd, which is when I really first discovered poetry through my good pal Robert Frost, and I thought it was stupid. It didn't even rhyme. If you check the fine print, it'll tell you that I started writing because I could not speak, at least not in the more serious sense of the word, like my real mouth was sewn shut and I was breathing through my pen. Like if I wrote hard enough, or often enough, or if I could finish the poem before the ink of the first word could even dry, the syllables wouldn't taste so much like loneliness, the ink wouldn't feel so much like wouldn't feel so much like poison. The first time someone taught me that words are alive, for a long while I forgot that living things die. They don't tell you that part about words, but it's written in the fine print. Your words unspoken rot, they molder in silence and decay and regret. In English class, we learn about poetry and why people write. And the teacher says, writers want to be understood. He says that poets are looking for someone who will see their words and know what they really mean. Either he is wrong or I am not a writer because I write with shame in every syllable. Each time I speak these words aloud, I am dying with the fear that someone will hear them and see the cemetery of stanzas that make up my skeleton, the words rotten in my chest. When people ask me what I write or why I write, I don't know what they want, but I know the truth isn't it. Nobody wants to read the fine print that says I started writing as practice, that I started writing because I wanted to find the prettiest way to tell the world I wanted to die, a perfectly printed stanza on why I sipped away in a cocktail of coffee and bad decisions folded carefully on notebook paper. The fine print says that breathing through a pen is really, really hard. When there is a garden growing in your lungs full of weeds instead of flowers, that every breath is broken and ugly and stained with ink like blood, and blood is not beautiful, it is just red. The fine print says that it is not poetry, just confessions, that it is easier to breathe through a pen than take a deep breath when your words are crushing your ribs and severing your spine, and I don't know how to write about things that don't hurt. I don't tell people that, but it's there though, if you check the fine print. My mother is the silencer on the barrel of a gun, an expert in quiet violence. My mother taught me strength in all the worst ways, how to be flexible for people who will bend me until I break. My mother never snaps until she's at home. She will scream at me over the telephone and threaten to cut my hair. My mother is a rusty pair of scissors. She tries so hard to be sharp enough and ends up slicing up my ears. I think of a famous artist, and she thinks of the tragedy of never being able to wear earrings again. What will the neighbors think? If I can't wear rose gold hoops to match my prom dress, how can she snap pictures to send to everyone she knows because she has always been proudest of having had such a pretty girl? My mother is a steel woman who melts in front of an audience for the sake of applause. She holds blame like a weapon and mugs me at knife point. She'll buy me a necklace with the lunch money and then cry when I tell her I'm hungry. Mom, I am hungry. Stop feeding me jewelry. But my mother has dined on silver and gold for decades. I guess that's why she never puts food on her plate at the dinner table. My mother taught me to be a magical woman, how to shrink, how to shapeshift, even how to disappear. Abracadabra.